So, you recently got a shiny Pokemon and now you want to use it in battle. It doesn't have any good stats and you are unsure on what moves to give it. Well, today we're going to make a Pokemon ready for competitive battle. In this video I'm going to show you how to make your Pokemon the best it can be. This includes nature, IVs, EVs, ability, moves, and held item. I'm going to put a few links in the description to help you decide what you want to do with your Pokemon. We have a lot to discuss, so let's get started. To make things easier, I'm going to make my Charmeleon that I got from a raid into a competitive kick-ass Charizard ready to burn shit down. First, you want to look up information on its final evolution. In this case, it's Charizard. You can see here that Charizard has a higher special attack than its regular attack. This means Charizard will do more damage with its special moves than physical moves. And you can see here on the right side what its min and max stat can be for each slot. We'll circle back to this later. Once you've done your research, it's time to look at the nature that you want to have on your Charizard. Personally, I want to have my Charizard as fast as possible, so I'm going to look for a nature that boosts its speed. So here's a list of all the possible natures that any Pokemon can have. As you can see here, we have a couple natures that are neutral, which means they don't boost or reduce any of your stats in any way. But the ones we want to look at right now are the ones that boost speed. And there are plenty of choices, so which one should we pick? Well, since I won't be giving Charizard any physical moves, I'm going to pick the timid nature. This will boost Charizard's speed by 10% and lower its attack by 10%. As you can see here, my Charmeleon does not have a timid nature, and most likely your Pokemon won't already have the nature that you desire. But there is an easy way to change the nature to whatever we want. In Sword and Shield, you can go to the Battle Tower in Winden to purchase mints. These mints will change the Pokemon's nature to whatever you want it to be. Just purchase the corresponding mint and feed it to the Pokemon to change it. Note that it won't say the nature has changed in this tab, but you can see the stat changes here. The key indicator is looking at the highlighted text. The one highlighted in pink is the increased stat. The one highlighted in blue is the decreased stat. It should match the two styles you chose from your mint. So for a timid nature, I'm looking for speed to be highlighted in pink and attack to be highlighted in blue. And that's what we have here. So we're good to go. The next step is IVs. IV stands for individual values. Each stat will have its own separate IV. If you go to your Pokemon in the PC and press the plus button twice, you will see all of your IVs on the right hand side. The IV could say something like no good, very good, fantastic, best. But in most cases you want each slot to say best. And in this case, I have best in all but attack and speed. Since I won't be using any physical moves, the attack stat is fine, I'm not going to worry about that. But the speed IV needs to be adjusted. The only way that I can change this now is if I hyper train the Pokemon at level 100. In Gen 8, I recommend using XP candies to quickly get it to level 100. Just as a side note, if it's a Pokemon like Gengar that requires an evolution through a trade, that could be done whenever. It's not going to affect the stats in any negative way. You could just keep it as a Haunter and evolve it when everything's done, or you could evolve it during this process. It really doesn't matter. Once we hit level 100, now we can move on to hyper training. This can also be done at the Battle Tower in Winden. If you talk to this guy over here on the right, he can hyper train any stat for one bottle cap, or all of your stats for one golden bottle cap. Bottle caps can also be purchased here in the Battle Tower for battle points. After this, your Pokemon will have its stats adjusted to best. Although it'll say hyper train instead, but it acts the same on your stats, so that's all that matters. The next step is EVs, or effort values. A Pokemon can have up to 252 EVs in any given stat. Pokemon are limited to a total of 510 EVs across all stats. The most efficient way to do this is by giving your Pokemon vitamins. These vitamins can be purchased at the Winden Pokemon Center. Each vitamin gives 10 EVs in the corresponding stat. So, for my Charizard, I'm going to do 252 EVs in special attack, 252 EVs in speed, and I'm going to put the remaining EVs in HP. So I need to purchase 26 calcium, 26 carbos, and 1 HP up and give it to Charizard. Now to double check the stat adjustment, go to the Pokemon summary and on the stat page, click X to see the EVs. Unfortunately, they don't tell you the exact number of EVs in each slot, but if you see the sparkles over special attack and speed like here, then you know that you have 252 in that slot. Once this is done, I can now look at my Charizard's speed stat. It should say 328 if I've done everything correctly, and it does. You will only get the max stat if you have a boosted nature, best or hyper trained IV, 252 EVs, and the Pokemon is level 100. For the HP stat, it's the same minus the nature since there aren't any natures that change your HP stat. The next step is to look at its ability. Charizard could have one of two abilities, Blaze, its normal ability, or Solar Power, its hidden ability. Luckily, this one already has the ability I want, but if you do want to change its ability, you can buy an ability capsule at the battle tower for battle points as well. But if you want the hidden ability, you need to use an ability patch. These ability patches could be purchased from the Max Lair shop in the Crown Tundra DLC. This is really useful when you want a Pokemon like Zapdos to have the static ability instead of pressure. After that, we could start looking into what moves we want on our Pokemon. For this Charizard, I think I'm going to pick Heat Wave, Air Slash, Scorching Sand, and Protect. I think this would be a great set in doubles with good coverage and damage. Heat Wave and Air Slash are great for stab damage, Scorching Sands is a good tech move with a 30% chance of burning the target, and Protect because you never know. Notice that I only chose special moves. This is because with this Charizard I have a higher special attack stat than I do with my regular attack stat. And since that I chose the timid nature, I decrease my attack stat 10% further. With this Charizard you don't want to try using moves like Earthquake or Rock Slide. Even though they're really good moves, it's not going to be as good as you think, I promise. Generally, most Pokemon like Charizard have some room for options. I think Scorching Sand could be replaced with Solar Beam or Ancient Power, but that's up to you. But what I do recommend before you make this decision is to look at the rest of your team. Try to figure out what kind of coverage that you don't have, or you know that you're going to struggle with a certain type. If you struggle a lot with water types, then I think Solar Beam could be a good addition. Or if you run into an opposing Charizard, having an option like Ancient Power will definitely help you out. So that's something that you need to decide. You can always play around with it, just see what you like. Either way, it could be tough to decide on what moves to pick, so do your research and choose wisely. And now the finishing touch, the item. Since I plan on using this Charizard in double battles, I think a Life Orb would be a good option. In double battles, it's uncommon to run into a hazard like Stealth Rock, so heavy duty boots won't be that useful to me. Focus Sash and Safety Goggles could be a decent option. Focus Sash could come in handy if I run into a rock move, and Safety Goggles will protect my Charizard from weather damage and, more importantly, Rage Powder and Spore. But I plan on running this with my Torkoal and Sun. Life Orb will give it added power on top of its Solar Power ability, making Charizard an excellent powerhouse for damage. There are plenty of options for held items, and luckily most of these items could also be purchased at the Battle Tower in Wyndon. So now that we have our Charizard finally ready to go, let's test it out. So that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope this video gives you guys a better understanding on the process of making a Pokemon ready for battle. It can be a little overwhelming what goes into it, but once you get the hang of it, it's not really that bad. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or recommendations. I'd love to hear what you think. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe and turn notifications on. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.